Meeting to order at 7 o'clock, please. I also am going to stand up so that the board members will hear me very well. At this time, board members, I need to mention to you that we are being videotaped and it will be put on YouTube. And our policy, BEDJ, allows recordings as long as we are informed. So I'm informing you at this time that you're being videotaped tonight. Okay, adjustment to the agenda, we have one. It's number 6 under K, new business. It's an executive session to discuss contract negotiations. So that will come after 5. At this time, I'll consider a motion for the minutes of Wednesday, May 2nd, 2012, school board meeting. Carolyn, the second.
Second.
Any discussion? I have 2 corrections. Under J3, the last bullet, vetted is spelled with 2 T's. On the last page, under number 7, under the motion to go into executive session, it should have said that no action was taken after that executive session. Anything else? All right, seeing nothing, I will call for the vote. All those in favor? Thank you, it's unanimous.
We have 2 retirements. We have Rose White, who is the administrative music, and we have Phyllis Akins, who is school phys ed, and they are both retirement, and we accept those with regret. They have received a letter acknowledging their retirement.
Thank you. And the board has received an invitation to the Calton project commencement, which will be in Holton on May 24th at 6 o'clock with a reception to follow. That's going to conflict with our service learning celebration here at Manawha Junior High at 6 o'clock. So Mrs. Hamlin will attend the commencement in Holton, and I would love to have any of the rest of you as board members attend the celebration in support of our students and faculty and all of their achievements. Okay? Public participation. I see we have another crowd tonight. Who's coming back? Again, just a reminder that you may participate. I will call upon you. Please give your name and make a statement. Remember, this is not a question and answer period. It's simply for you to address the board with a concern that you might have. I also must remind you that we do not discuss personnel issues, that you are not to name or in any way identify through position any member of the district. Those are the rules that comes under confidentiality of the board. Tonight we have quite a few people here, so I'm hoping that you will get an opportunity. I'm going to ask that you speak once, and if there's time remaining, then we will ask, come back around if someone has a second comment. Are there any questions? All right, at this time I'll open it up for public participation. No one? Yes.
I have a question and I realize you can't answer it, but I'm asking you. Oh, sorry. Dolly Phillips' mom. Having a child at L.P. Burr and having gone through, the last 5 years of L.P. Burr with him, my question would be regarding AYP and when he was in second grade, they had instituted the new math program, Investigations. And I would just love to know if there's a correlation between the inserting of Investigations math and the drop in AYP. For anybody who's had a kid in LFUR, it's taken quite a few nights of parents coming, which not all parents come, to math grades, to teach parents how to do Investigations math. It's a headache, to say the least, for anybody who knows how to do traditional math. And I will say that kids, yes, they do come out and have a tremendous understanding of the concept of numbers, but the whole process is so convoluted that it's difficult. And then in fourth grade, they're getting a little bit of time. It's more than original, but they're given this amount of time to transition the kids back to traditional math to go to the junior high, which is traditional math based. And I just would love to know at some point in time, is there a correlation between the drop in AYP and the institution of Investigations math in the algebra?
Okay, Dolly, I will have that question and that concern sent to the administration and have them get back to you on that. Because as the board, that's not something that we have information on right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Yes.
Sharon Crockett, I teach kindergarten. I've been to several board meetings, particularly at the end of the year when there are resignations, and you always read the letter of resignation. At least I assume you have, and you had two tonight that weren't read. Just to throwing it out there why. And I know that you're not going to answer it, but
Well,
that's
I'll
a
make an
concern.
exception and I will answer it.
Okay.
Because in reviewing our policy states that the superintendent will just make an announcement. And because people are kind of holding us to our policies now, that's why we're going over our policies, we're reviewing our policies and looking at what we're doing to make sure we're following our policies.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Yes.
Hi, I'm Rachel, I'm a taxpayer. Again, I have some handouts. As a certified teacher and highly qualified teacher as well in health and PE, I would be remiss not to share research which may shed some light regarding the recent decline that we are seeing in test scores. This information that I'm handing out to the school board was published by a highly reliable, valid, and current resource called the Centers for Disease Control, and we commonly call it the CDC. The CDC states that elementary school girls who participate more in physical education score better in reading and math tests compared to those with less PE time, which is on page 2 and highlighted on the handout that I have provided for you. My thought is this: if test scores improve with more physical education, then as a district we should be supporting more PE in our elementary schools to help not only increase fitness and fight obesity, but to help children learn better and test better as well. Not to mention, brain research supports how the corpus callosum develops better and creates stronger neural connections between the two halves of the brain when children are exposed to art and music, meaning that they need to be exposed to those programs more as well. Teachers do not create the schedules. That's an administrative responsibility. So if an administrator is struggling to create a schedule which uses educators so our students can reach greater academic standards, then we need to be asking for help from other staff members or other administrators, either inside or outside our district. If there is still no way to work out the schedule for the best interest of our students, then maybe our district needs to consider buying what it seems to desperately need the most: time. Lengthen the school year, lengthen the day, and appropriately and adequately compensate your staff. As an educator, I am here for the best interests of all of our students, and as a taxpayer, I'm here to inform the board that if the budget does not pass, it will not be because of the financial cuts that need to be made, or seemingly that need to be made. Quite the opposite. It will be because, number one, programs and staff need to be kept intact and better utilized, and two, because now is not the time to employ new positions which will not have direct contact with our children. When the staff, administration, parents, and community work together, the only outcome will be the benefits that our children receive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes.
My name is Michelle Wickster, and I'm a parent. And I understand the vote regarding taking regarding some cuts, but I want something on the show to think about in the future. I was laying in bed the other night thinking about what is taking place in the last several meetings that I've been to, and how certain classes affect my children. I have 2 children, one in algebra and one in junior high, regarding to what is often referred to as the special art, music, phys ed, language. My 8th grader has taken an interest in art for the first time. She has started drawing a lot. I noticed immediately, once she started drawing and enjoying it, she started writing. She's writing poetry. She's written numerous poems and share them with anybody who will read them. The more she's written, the more she's drawn. The more she's drawn, the more she's writing. She has come home to me, Mama, look at my poem. This is what we learned in writing class today. I have seen a direct correlation between what she's getting in art and her writing ability, her interest, and her skills in writing. So these specials impact directly on how they can learn in other areas. And I just like you to think about that for the future, and maybe for me.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes. Yeah, I know I spoke to the board a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever it was. I'm still amazed that we have extra time now in the schedule for physical education, and we're choosing not to do it. Michelle Obama's, her big thing is physical fitness. The president's wife. We're just going to read. It just amazes me. I find myself speechless that we have extra time to put in the schedule to get the kids to their bodies, and we're not going to do it. That's all I got to say. Anyone else? Yes.
Tracy Ferguson, taxpayer, teacher, there aren't a lot of teachers that speak of these things. I just don't want you to assume that that's in support of what's going on, because I think a lot of people would stand up and speak if they felt they could. But I hope you look around and look at the bodies that are in this room and how many work in the school system. Also, I know it's not your fault how these meetings work, where we're only allowed to comment first and then the board does what they do and they vote, because I know that happens everywhere. That's probably in the United States, that's how it goes. But it's just really difficult for those of us in here who are not mind readers, fortune tellers, and know what's about to happen in order to speak on it, especially when we're given the agenda when we arrive and it's not posted on the internet ahead of time. It's not given out to us ahead of time to be able to speak on it. 20 copies are made for 175 people. I know that's not your fault that that's the way it works, but also we need a lot more transparency about what's on the agenda, what is going to be voted for, because unless you were in the system, I'm not sure you knew what was going to be voted on in the last meeting. Also, I couldn't speak to a position becoming half-time because that wasn't on the agenda. That wasn't anything that was spoken about, that was a chance to have that happen. So I may have had an opinion about how that would work and would it work, but I'm not a mind reader or a fortune teller. So I would just ask maybe that if something happens to a piece of the agenda where the public wouldn't know about it ahead of time, like the changing something to halftime. I don't know how it works, but it sounds like possibly you could table that item, put it on the next agenda, so that we can know ahead of time what we are supposed to speak on ahead of time. And please, if you're going to vote on cutting programs, make that available to the public for 5 days of this work year. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Just to go along with what Tracy was saying, at the last meeting, an hour and a half before coming to the meeting, I did print off the agenda, and when I got here, found out it was pretty much wrong. I received from somebody who was sitting in the audience a copy who allowed me to keep it and copy it, and there were quite a few differences. I don't know why there was so different. Well, there's no follow one, but this is the one that the gentleman had, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4 pages long, and the one I copied off was quite a bit different. So, you know, it is available, but we come in and we look stupid because we don't have the correct information. I don't know why it wasn't correct, but it wasn't. So even when we are trying to be informed and print off agendas in advance, we're not getting the right information. And if anybody wants at some point, we'd be delighted to make copies of what we had access to in advance of the public, as opposed to what actually happened to you.
Yes, Jim Trask. I understand that there have been no cuts to programs in phys ed, library, music, and people keep talking about all these cuts, and there are no cuts, right? Am I correct? Is that an assumption or is that a fact?
That's a yes/no question.
We will tell you that there is no cuts in time for the kids.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Also, I'd like to address the article that was in the Bangor Daily News today about intimidation by the superintendent on union members. Well, there's more than just intimidation there. It's intimidation by the union on union members. My wife's vehicle was vandalized, I assume by a union member, because they took this union sticker off the vehicle. Okay? And they scratched my vehicle when they did it. If you're not a member of that group, you're not welcome.
Yes,
Thank you.
anyone else?
Jack, I just want to add an addendum. I understand we're not cutting programs from where they are. What I'm talking about is utilizing our staff more effectively for our students. So I just want to clarify that that's my perspective that I was presenting tonight to the board, not that we are cutting programs, but that our children need to learn how to be active, they need to learn skills, they need to learn these things to help fight obesity, which is a huge issue in our country, to help fight diabetes, and just to become better movers so that they can. And so I understand we're not talking about cuts, I'm talking about utilizing our staff. So I just wanted to say that.
I know union is a really dirty word. I grew up in a house where my dad's a mill worker hourly, so I know that union is a dirty word. You know, they don't always agree. It's not my fault I'm part of a union, unionized, the way that teachers' unions work. It's a national thing. I'm all for, what's the superman? What? Waiting for Superman. I'm all for it. I would love for you to come in my classroom and, you know, give me an evaluation, and my salary be based on that evaluation, and I would make a lot of money, I think. Agree with that, especially the time I put in. I agree. I don't choose to be part of the way that the teachers' union works. I became part of the union this year, honestly though, so that I would have access to a lawyer.
I have some security issues with switching to cloud servers. I would like the board members to figure out what their security is. What happens if they sell your cloud account? What happens if, I want to know who has access to passwords of the people who use these systems. I want to know how many people, what type of information about my children will be stored there. I also want to know who has the authority to go onto the servers and add or remove things, like staff-to-staff emails and things of that nature. These are all things that I really hope that the board is figuring out before they switch to the cloud server, because there's a lot of security.
Anyone else? All right, we're going to move on with our agenda. Thank you all for coming, and thank you for your comments. We have heard what you have said, and we'll take them under consideration. Personnel. Board committee reports, operations.
We haven't met since the last meeting, but at the last board meeting I attended, I asked that the confirmation vote be put on the agenda for the overall job we're doing at the high school. And I talked to Denise about what that motion would be, whatnot, agenda item would be. And there was discussion of holding off, and maybe we should wait until the project has been selected and finalized by the engineer, and then bring it to the board for formal approval for the contract. And I kind of thought that over, and I really would like to have the board have a confirmation vote on what our specs are going into the project. The last project we did, we had 4 instructors, the 2 state inspectors, several Maine Fuel Board representatives, one that came to our board meeting to talk to us, one heating instructor came to the board meeting to talk to us. We had 3 engineering reports that all said that we should go with the industry standard of big leg boilers. The committee took a formal vote on that. We come up with option B, which was big leg systems, 275% boilers. We brought it to the board. Unfortunately, such as I'm doing it now, I didn't do an operations committee report. In doing that report, we gave a vote, unanimous vote, to go ahead with the lead leg system, which was the unanimous decision of every aspect of information going into the project. Unfortunately, since it was done ad hoc in operations committee, the vote wasn't recorded formally. And as such, we had no recourse when the engineer and the project went cell phones. We did not get lead leg system. We got full-size 115% boilers instead of 275. The project is skewed and went to skewed, and the district took a loss on our goals in which we were to achieve there. So I strongly recommend that the committee comes out with actually, our operations managers come up with a recommendation of lead leg system, no more than 60–70% size boilers. I also would like to add in there a clause in there that says guaranteed 25% savings. We're doing this project on somewhat aged boilers, but our biggest goal is the cut cost of fuel. By going out with a bidding process initially, with a defined goal of 25% savings, that sets us up for success. I'm afraid if we don't take a vote and we don't have a leg to fall back on through an authorization of the board, that this potentially could go south again, and we would have no savings that we expect on that. It is my opinion that it's yet to be verified that we have lost great potential savings on the last project. I don't want to repeat basically, the finger came back to the operators and chair that said that you did not get a formal board vote. So I would like to make sure we don't repeat the same process we went through last time. And I'd like to request that we put on the agenda for discussion.
Yes, as board chair, I'm gonna suggest that you and your committee and Mr. Hand and Mrs. Cameron sit down and come up with, that seems very technical to me, and I know nothing about boilers, so you come up with the proper wording, however that has to be, and then we'll get it on the agenda. Okay?
I have a question on that. Like, you said, I'm sorry for being ignorant, but you said we bought boilers, DOT for, now this project you're talking about is high school?
Correct.
Okay, has there been an engineering study done here, like a Siemens type project study?
Stevens, Kappa Associates, and Kilby, three engineering firms.
Okay.
The whole thing boils down to technology, change the technology. Used to be you buy cars with carburetors and standard transmissions, now they're all automatics with fuel injectors. It's basic.
We did a whole study with Siemens, and Siemens will guarantee the cost savings if they see that. So it's not unusual to do that. But we did lighting and everything, not just the boilers. Is that something we're looking into as well?
Those are other projects that, yes.
Because
Dave, can I suggest you come to an operations committee meeting?
can.
You
can.
Thank you.
I don't know if I'll make it.
My phone number is in the book.
Policy committee, we're on the agenda. Personnel committee.
The personnel committee met last evening. We had a period of reviewing salaries for several different personnel, and we will be on the agenda with the pay commission and recommendation at our next meeting.
Thank you. Finance committee.
We haven't met, but we'll be meeting again on the 12th. Looking forward to on that.
By the way, our next meeting for personnel is tomorrow, Tuesday.
Thank you.
Should I say our next meeting?
Yes. Just a reminder for everyone. Committee reports, Region 3. Becky, you haven't been back yet, have you? Student representative, Nick.
Currently, the last advanced placement course exam went on today with the statistics one, part of it, unfortunately. But all the AP examinations done for that. The prom is this Saturday. At 8, I believe. And this Friday, the students of MA are participating in a community service project in which they handed us out permission slips and sign-up sheets, and it's everything from just cleaning up around the school to I believe going out in the town and just cleaning up and doing anything to help. I think one of the projects has to do with the recreation department. I'm not entirely sure on that, but I think a lot of students are participating in that, and I was told by a teacher that this was something that used to go on a lot, and they've just been trying to bring it back just so the students can get out in the community and serve the community. Because I know in civics class that's a big thing. They say give back to your community. So the students are just trying to do that. And maybe Friday it's a half day, but they're going to take the other half they would have off and donate it to the community. So
Thank you very much. Okay, school board reports. Just reminding you to read all the information that comes in the packet. The spring concert for Manufacturing Academy Chorus and honor choir and treble choir band and jazz ensemble. We have an invitation for that. You have the MSBA update in your packet. You have the notices for the budget referendum vote is on Tuesday, May 29th at 6:30, and it's in the cafeteria or the gym? Either one, cafeteria, okay. And also, I want to thank and congratulate Mr. Petrus and MA staff for the wonderful job that you did on the showcase and the academic awards. I had a lot of nice compliments about that evening, how well everything went, and what great work the kids were doing. So, saying thank you from the board for all your time and effort, and please pass that on to your staff. Okay, superintendent's report.
So, as you know, we're right into budget season. We have sent off the budget booklets to print. We are trying to upload some of that into the website so that the line-by-line budgets, the article budgets, and the budget booklet are all available online. We did run into a couple of glitches, but Lisa figured them out for us. At the central office, we started getting those documents uploaded so they should be readily available for anyone that wants to go on and print them off. Again, May 29th will be the public budget. We met tonight as an RPC. I don't know if Jim wants to jump in here, but we looked at the timeline for the consolidation of Lowell, and the committee decided that because we have such a short timeline and we're charting in new ground trying to consolidate after our budgets are developed, that we would hold the referendum and the public meetings at a later date, and the entrance date for Lowell students will be a 2013-2014 start date, rather than try to spend every evening trying to craft that plan. We do have, Lowell has a 45-day timeline for posting for the referendum. The RSU has a 30-day timeline, so we're looking way beyond our budget, and to try to develop a plan to transition students with a vote in August for a September start date is just not conducive to learning and any students that will be coming here. So the committee has just decided to take a step backwards and revisit the plan and implement a timeline that will incorporate both budgets for next year as we go through budgets. In a nutshell?
Yeah, we just basically decided we wanted to take another school year. It's been a month since we met the last time. It's really hard to get together. We have the budget things going on and all our committees and everything. And we want to make sure we cross all the T's, dot all the I's, and do it right. So we decided to hold off the 2013-14 school year.
I did attend a law conference last weekend. Information in the packet, it was very informative. Read through the information. If you have any questions, let me know. There is a school law conference on September 12th in Augusta. If any of the board members would like to go, it is over all of the legislative updates, teacher evaluation, charter schools, student restraint, and collective bargaining. So there are quite a few subtopics. If you are interested, let me know, and we will get you ready for that workshop. That's it for me. We have a copy of the current budget in your packet. We are at 13% of revenues left to collect and 23 left to spend, so we're in good shape. Spring concerts, after you already mentioned. So a lot of discussions at that level about the Maine Care Bill and what that's going to look like for schools. I did attend a quick executive committee meeting as we scheduled the professional development activities to be collaborative for next year, some of which will be include the OSHA training that our maintenance department building and grounds we will participate in, bus driver training, and instruction.
Any questions? All right, thank you. We have no old business. Under new business, a motion to accept or not accept the second reading to rescind policy BDAB, board members handling of public complaints. I have a motion. Motion.
Seconded.
Thanks, Alan. Jim, any discussion? discussion? Remember, this is the one that our BBAB, the board members handling the public complaints, and it's supposed to be KE, which we also have, so we're rescinding this, because BBAB actually is board member self-evaluation. So we'll be putting that in there in place. Any other questions about it? And I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Thank you, it's unanimous. A motion to accept or not accept the second reading to revise policies JJJ, extracurricular activities eligibility, JJIBC, relations with booster groups, and KE, public concerns and complaints. May I have a motion?
Make the motion that they be taken up separately.
Okay? So, do we have a second for that? Okay. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Okay, all those opposed? Six in favor and 4 opposed. So it will pass. All right, I have a motion to accept or not accept the second reading to revise policy JJJ, extracurricular activities eligibility. May I have a motion? Motion to accept.
Second.
Okay, Carolyn, John, any discussion? Just a reminder that the question on this was about the academic standards that we needed to add for students from Norfolk Junior High School, because our policy only addressed students at the high school level, and our junior high and middle school students are involved in academics. So Mr. Malone wrote a section for us to put in there. And the other part that we added were the cross-references to our other policies that need to be mentioned. Any other questions? Yes?
At the last meeting, we said we were gonna work to put these on the internet event. Were they able to be put up yet?
Any other questions? Discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Thank you, it's unanimous. JJIBC, relations with booster group. May I have a motion? Caitlin?
Second.
John? Any discussion? This one was, the question was why the volunteer application is being required, and we gave the answer to that. That is to keep the students and staff safe. It's also to align it with the policy on our volunteers, because booster clubs are run by volunteers. So we had to have those two policies aligned. Any other questions? All right, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Thank you, it's unanimous. KE, public concerns and complaints. May I have a motion?
Move to accept. Second.
John, discussion. Tuesday.
I have an issue with the change here. It says, public should be aware that RSU 67 school board members should not get involved prematurely in the complaint process. Actually, as an elected official, I'm the very first step in the complaint process. If a constituent has a concern and they need to access the system, if you will, they go to their representatives and check and see.
Yes, you have. I'm just looking back at my old notes.
Again, being the first step in the process, when a constituent has a problem and they need to address it, they go to the representative to see how to do it. We, as board members, would encourage us to take it at the lowest step and do what to do. But we're the very first line of communication for the public to the school district.
takes out, I don't think that's what we wanted to do.
Well,
Just taking that word out. The reason, we kind of, at the policy committee, we talked back and forth several times on this language, and basically what we wanted to just have, have in here is that the process, the complaint process needs to take its course before a decision could be made, and that a board member really can't make a decision prior to that, but not, you're right, necessarily, we do need to get involved if something comes to us directly. So.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think there should be something in here that reminds everybody that the final decision has to go through the whole process.
Yeah,
and I don't know how to word that, but that was our best stab at it.
I just want to make sure that the rights of the public is protected, so their access to their representative. We may have to take that back and have it reworded, not just be fair.
I think that's also why it wasn't a demand statement, it was just an informational type statement with the word aware in it. But
Hey, remember, this
We
one
can
was
verse
sent
it
back
back.
last time too, so if you want to send it back again, we'll send it back.
we can send it back another time. How do you want to?
Yeah, I'd like to reaffirm that. There is no rush to have it done whatsoever.
Okay. Good.
I think that being elected officials, we do have a duty to inform the public to take the correct steps. But we hire people to run this school system, and we have a chain of command in this school system, which ultimately could end up at the board, but the board members should not be solving problems with members of the public without having that process followed. It says we're not, our policy says we will not discuss issues before the administration has a chance to address those issues. We do not prematurely get involved in that. We will be probably the ending to what goes on, but we shouldn't be prematurely getting involved in these discussions, especially when, probably when we talk to members of the public, we're not gonna have that policy right in front of us. So, I'd like to see this policy stay the way it is, and we can have a vote on it, it's on the floor.
Anyone else? Any comments, any more questions? Dave?
I'd just like to reaffirm, I'm not denying the due process, and we have a procedure, all components, board, I'm fully aware of the due process now, and I'd like to reaffirm that the representative is the very first step in the conduit of how somebody processes a complaint. So there is a due process for a complaint, but the representative will steer somebody through that process. This has nothing to do with the process of itself, it's how you access that process, and how you have somebody to mentor you, to guide you through it, to do it, and do it right, and do it proper by procedure. So then it works smoothly.
Okay, well, we have a motion on the floor to either accept it as it is or not. So let's vote on that motion right now. All those in favor of accepting this as it is written, please raise your hand. Okay, all those opposed? So it's 9-1, it will stand as it's written. Thank you for your concern, David.
Just reaffirming the public.
Okay, thank you. A motion to accept or not accept the superintendent's recommendation to allow the Madanopolis Academy Band and Chorus to attend the Music in the Parks Music Festival in Washington, D.C. on April 27th, 2013. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay, John, Jim, any discussion? Notice that the group will leave on April 24th, 2013 and return on April 28th, 2013. And in the packet last time, you had a very lengthy itinerary and financial statement for what they knew about it this time anyway. Any more discussion or questions? All right, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? It's unanimous, thank you. All right, our next three items are all executive sessions, so before we go into that, I'm gonna skip to number L, or letter L, rather. Our next board meeting is Wednesday, June sixth, 2012, at 7 p.m. at Madanock Academy Library. Tuesday, May 29th, is the budget referendum vote is Tuesday, and then Tuesday, June 12th, is the validation vote. Are there any items requested by board members, community, or staff to be included in the next agenda? Okay, seeing none. I will entertain a motion to accept or not accept the superintendent's recommendation to enter into executive session according to 1 MRSA subsection 4056A to discuss an administrator's evaluation.
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous, and we will adjourn to the conference room. Okay, we're back in session at 8:30.
8:28.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion that we extend Captain Menard's contract for 1 year more and transfer a 3% increase in salary.
Second. Any discussion?
All right, I gotta get out of here. See you later.
Okay, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of extending Kathy Menard's contract for 1 year to, what year would that be? 15? 2015, 16? 12, 13, 13, 14, 14.
14, 15, to 15, to the end of 15.
14, 15, okay. And a 3% raise.
Yes.
I'll call for the vote. Good, thank you, it's unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Kathy, for all that you do, and we appreciate all your hard work, and very glad to have you as a member of our school system. Now, I'll entertain a motion to accept or not accept the superintendent's recommendation to enter into executive session according to 1 MRSA subsection 4056A to discuss an administrator's evaluation. May I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, Reg, John, any discussion? All those in favor? It's unanimous. And we'll be going in at 8:30.
Home cabinets, that hard.
Big exit.
Kevin, say your home cabinets.
54. And I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we extend the contract for 3 years with a 3% increase in year 1 for Mr. Petras.
I'll second it.
Yep. Any discussion? All those in favor of extending Henry Petrus's contract to 2014-2015 school year and a 3% raise? All those in favor, please. Thank you, it's unanimous. All right, Thank you.
I just want to move this.
A motion to accept or not accept the superintendent's recommendation to enter into executive session according to 1 MRSA subsection 4056D to discuss contract negotiations. I have a
So
motion.
moved.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you, it's unanimous. And we'll go back in at 8:55.
Thank you. Thanks, Henry. Actually,
Executive session at 10:10. And no action will be taken on that executive session. I will now entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second. Okay, Reg, Carolyn, any discussion?
Can't have discussion on it.
Oh, sorry, I always ask that. I'm just
we
being such a-
do things informally.
All those in favor? It's unanimous, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. I needed that clarification.
I get in such a habit of saying discussion.
What's that?